Today's video is completely different than the usual stuff because we're focusing on this great big beautiful barn right here, which is not so beautiful right now. We have been clearing it out of all the mess that's been stored in here for the past, I don't know, 10 years at least. And as you can see, it's a mess. It's even worse on the inside, but it's better than it was a week ago because we have already hauled away so much trash. Not even really trash, just things that were stored in here. You know how it goes. Certain areas of your place, your garage, maybe your basement, they become catch-alls for everything you think you're going to need one day, and then you never use it. I'll bet we found at least 20 cans of paint that were no longer any good. Good grief. Bins and bins of stuff, exercise equipment, dead lawnmowers, appliances that expired and came in here to rest in peace, and they did rest in peace for the last several years. Now, right now, this is a lot better than it was, believe it or not. This is going to be a before and after video because we really have determined to clean this place out, and as you can see, it's still a mess. But it was worse a week ago. Trust me, it really was. Now, what I wanted to do originally when this beautiful barn was built, I guess we've had this barn for about 20 years. It is a beautiful, beautifully made barn, built barn. It was built by a guy named Bobby. He was a local carpenter here, a very well-known barn maker. And the thing about Bobby was he was crippled. He had a really bad leg. He basically couldn't even use it, but he would stand up on these rafters on his one leg and work away on this barn. And he had a sidekick, and I can't remember his sidekick's name that helped him out, but he called him Honey. And another thing about Bobby is every day he brought his thermos full of moonshine with him. He couldn't work without it, but you know what? He did a great job. We love this barn. And the original purpose for this barn, because it's big, it's 30 by 40 feet with an upstairs, was that 1/3 of the barn would go to our animals. At the time we had a lot more large animals. We had 10, 4 goats, 4 sheep, and the 2 donkeys. Now we just have the 2 donkeys. Chickens and turkeys, and not turkeys, and chickens, ducks, geese, and peacocks. And then 1/3 of the barn would be for James and his working stuff. You know, tools. Just an area to do woodworking at. Look at this terrible mess. And then 1/3 of it would be for me, for whatever I wanted. And my plan was to turn it into either a studio or some kind of a little emporium, you know, a shop. And things never seem to work out that way. I want you to know I am moving a little bit from clip to clip because I'm editing these videos, and I've already done a little bit of more cleaning in here. As a matter of fact, we've just moved the feeding trough, the hay trough, over on this side. And the girls are loving it. Anyway, my donkeys, my sheep, they all got their spot. That worked out just great. They always had a nice area. And as far as James's workshop, he never worked up here. Hardly ever did he come up here and work. He always worked out on the porch or on the back courtyard. And needless to say, I never got a studio up here either. So things are about to change. So my first job, and I suggest this to you if you have an overwhelming job, is to always start with a little section. Now, this is where I'm trying to organize all the wood. This is where the donkeys were. And now it's where I want to store the wood, here in the back of the barn. Also, we will be storing a lot of hay back here for them. We could probably get 10 to 12 bales of hay here for the girls. They don't really need a whole lot over the winter because they still have a lot of meadow to eat from. But so far, this is where I started, by cleaning this strip. So now I feel pretty good. I've got a good head start, and I feel a little more inspired that things can change in here. And so my next job, my first job was moving all the wood from that section to moving it to this section. I shouldn't say just me. James moved most of the wood. It was up in the rafters. It was on the floor. I mean, it really was bad. So you might think this looks messy. Trust me, it doesn't. Another problem we have here is this little trailer that we used to take to shows. Great little trailer, but it's covered in dust and dirt, and it's completely empty. But I'm thinking of taking our books out of our storage facility that we rent downtown and starting to store the books in this little trailer. This is a major problem right now. This right here, look at that door back there. That door right there that you see leaning up is a wonderful door that we bought years ago. It came in a shipment of antiques from Normandy, France, and I have wanted to use this door for years. That's going to be in my section. And we need to get rid of tomorrow, hopefully, all these dead lawnmowers and things. I'd love to get, and then I have to go through all these tools, clean everything up, pack it into bins, and move it. Now this section here looks, oh, it's so dark in here. I wish you could see better. This section in here is going to be mine. And this is going to be a 250-foot section. This is what it looked like a few days ago. Clearing out a bit. But I want you to notice the wonderful light that I have in here. I have these great windows. I got a great view from this window. One broken piece of glass. And this wild looking window, isn't that a crazy window to put on a barn? But we got two of them in an antique shop before the barn was built. And most people wouldn't put a window like this in a barn, but because of the plans that we had initially for the barn, we thought it would be perfect. And it actually really is. Let me show you the chicken section where the chickens are supposed to live. But the only time they want to come up here is when it's raining. Other than that, they hang out all over the place. This is a punch tin lantern I want to put in here after I rewire the whole thing. But gosh, I love this thing. I've had this forever. Never hung it once anywhere. So it needs to go in this barn. So as I move along here, I will just show you bit by bit how I'm cleaning it out. I do before I come up here, I make myself coffee. I also pour a great big thermos of tea or soup. I bring my lunch, which today is just a salad and some sardines. And then everything, I don't have to go down to the house at all during the day. If I get hungry, I can just sit here in the chicken apartment and eat my lunch. Well, obviously, the purpose of a barn is to house your animals and your farm equipment and your garden items. That's the purpose of a barn. But if you have a big enough barn, you can find a lot of other purposes for it too. And so that is exactly what we're going to be doing here. Of course, our girls get a great big space, and it's such a lovely big space for them. Only two of them. They're outside most of the time anyway. They can go out the door. They can wander the hills and the meadows. They have lots of acres. But I'm tempted, very tempted, to get a couple small sheep. I haven't had any sheep in a couple years. So here we've rearranged their hay trough. And it was on the other side. Flip it over, that's where they were. Back there where you see all that wood, that's where they were before. And now they're over here. And in the wintertime, I lay straw here, but in the summertime, I just like this dirt-packed floor. It's really the best way to keep things clean. And most of the time, even if it's snowing, they want to be outside. So this is the first section I cleared out. I'm pretty pleased about it, and it gives me inspiration to continue. We built the wall. We had to build this entire barnwood. It was just extra barnwood that we had laying around, and I just went all the way across the 2 stalls. What was that? To enclose their section. Let me show you something else that has been stored up here for a very long time. My 3rd cast iron sink. It's the first one we bought. We were going to put it in the kitchen. Then we found one that was bigger, so we used that instead. It was a lot longer, and it had two sinks. And so then we were going to use this for the potting sink on the porch. And then we found another one that was better, longer. And so this one is still up here in the barn, but it's actually my favorite because it's got the little soap dish here. Look how dirty and dusty it is in here. And the drainage, and a pretty shallow sink. So I'm going to ask James to build me another little potting sink with legs on it that we can use up here in the barn for something. And it's the dirt floor in here that causes all the trouble because it just gets everything filthy, dirty. So one of the goals in here is to, down the center, get gravel, and on the other side, which is going to be very expensive, get concrete pads. I know in my section I definitely need a concrete pad. Well, I just want to make it clear that by no means is this job going to be finished by the end of this video. This is a job that's going to take weeks from start to finish, but I will be posting you, updating you as time goes by to show you how far we've gotten. So what I'm doing right now is, like I said, I'm just cleaning things out and doing as much as I can. So where shall I start today? What should I do today? Oh gosh, I could do just about anything. I have a piece of beadboard against that wall. I'm going to cut it into 3 sections and just get it out of here. I need to use it in a room downstairs, and that will take that big 8 by 4 foot piece of beadboard out of the barn. A really great way to encourage yourself and to get a little bit of inspiration when you're doing a spot like this is to imagine what this is going to look like when it's all cleared out. Just think of a blank slate. This stuff is all gone, and I have a 250 square foot area. Whoops, I almost tripped over some of my stuff. I have a 250 foot area just to do what I want. So I'm thinking of a blank piece of paper, and what can I put on it? I actually get out notebooks, graph paper, and start planning each section. What is my floor going to be? Where am I going to put furniture? What kind of display items can I get in here? Can I get tables and chairs in here? Oh my gosh, shelves. Oh, it's going to be so much fun, like setting up a booth. That's one thing I used to love to do at shows, is set up my booth. But the biggest space I ever had was a 10 by 15. Now I have this much space to set up a permanent booth, art booth, and I can actually use it as my shop. So I am just using my imagination and realizing what can be done with this. If you've got another area, you've got a shop, a shed or a garage, and you really have dreams for it to be something other than what it is, just imagine what it would be like if it was all cleared out, and then start clearing it out. Moving that beadboard, I almost freed up this wall, and now this is my next big chore. These shelves, these two shelves, are just full of things. Who knows what they are? They're covered in dust. I can't even tell what they are. I have to remove each one of them. I'm going to set everything down on this pallet. I'm going to have James go through it and see what's good and what's not. Everything that's good, I will take it outside and clean it with the hose. And then I will store it in bins or wherever he wants it. Then I can remove this shelf. And I am using my imagination once again. And my creative mind is saying, okay, when that shelf is gone, when that refrigerator is gone, when all these things are no longer here, I've got a beautiful barnwood wall to look at. What can I do on that wall? Because this is my section. What can I do with that wall? What kind of vignettes and shelves and pictures can I hang on that wall for my emporium? And that's what keeps me going when I'm facing a horrible mess like this. Here we are, one of them, gone, but not forgotten. Not forgotten, because it's all right here. And my goodness gracious, you wouldn't believe it. It's almost all boxes of nails. Nails, nails, nails. Why do we have so many nails? And then oil and lubricants and all that kind of stuff. But mostly nails. I just don't get it. Oh, and some electrical wire. Ugh. And for some reason, a great big bag of carry-out bags. I don't know why they're here, but I think we used to take them to shows for some reason. I don't know. I had my own specialty bags, so I don't know why I would have those. Oh well, okay. So, one shelf emptied, and one shelf to go. Starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I have got those two shelves full of garbage cleared off. I still have to, I've got them separated down here. So, it's really not the beginning of the end. It's really not. It's the end of the beginning. Is that the way they put it? Something like that. Now, here's another problem with this, a job like this. My gosh, when you're done, if you got everything gathered together and you say, okay, so now what do I do with it all? You got to separate it into 3 different categories. The junk that you're going to throw away because it's useless, it's no good, or it's trash. What about things that are perfectly good but you don't need them anymore? You're going to give those away. What about things that are actually pretty good and you don't want to give them away, but you can sell them cheap? So I have to separate everything into 3 different sections. And I'm telling you right now, we have more nails than we would ever use in a lifetime. I don't know why we got all these nails. I think it was because we restored the house, number one, and then this barn was built. But most of this barn was put together with screws. So a lot of things. I know James has a lot of tools he doesn't want anymore. They're not great tools, but they're not trash. I'm actually finding some really cool stuff in here that I haven't seen for years. All these wonderful little farm hinges. These are so cool for gates. And I found a really great pair over here. Here's some really unusual hinges that we found years ago on eBay. They're huge. And honestly, we never have figured out what they're for, but they open in a very odd way. They open. I mean, I'm not even sure how this works. Honestly, I have no clue as to how this works. Maybe this would go on the side of a door? I don't know. I just don't get it. If anybody has ever seen these before, they're made of brass, solid brass. They're really heavy. They're really interesting looking. If anybody knows anything about these hinges, please let me know, because I don't know how to put them to use because I really don't understand them. So, information would be greatly appreciated on this. Another cool artifact that James found up here. He was outside cutting a couple trees down, and he found these, and I think they're sheep shears. They're not mine. I've never seen these before. They look like sheep shears or lawn clippers, but I'm more inclined to think they're sheep shears. Barn artifacts. Gosh, in the cupboards and under the bins, I've run across a lot of little mice in here, which stands to reason it's a barn. The thing is, I don't know what they eat in here. I don't have anything, we don't store corn or grain in this barn, only hay. And so I guess they're little wood mice, and they just come in here because it's cozy and warm, I guess. And I found several little nests. And I don't mind that much because they're not hundreds of them. And I think they're really cute. In fact, in this cupboard, I'm not going to open it up, I found the cutest little mouse nest. It was better than a bird's nest, and I just left it there. And then I opened the cupboard a few minutes later, and I saw a little mouse running across the floor in here. So I just leave them alone, and as long as they're not rats. Rats I don't like, but little mice I don't mind, as long as they're not causing any trouble. Well, I am so dirty, and I am taking a well-deserved lunch break. Just a salad and some tea. That tastes really good because I've been fasting for 2 days. So I'm just having a salad. I'm just taking it easy. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have several more hours of work I can do in there before I stop for the day. So, back to my job. Well, Stella's putting this old chair could use, taking naps on it all day, and I am definitely sometime in the future gonna take all of that off that chair, clean it up, and reupholster it. Something I've never done before, but I think I got that chair for $5, and you can see why, but I think it could be a really beautiful chair, in here even. So, I've got to separate all the junk from the trash. I've already done a lot of that. I need to get, I need to go through this refrigerator because I think James has a lot of things stored in there. So I've got to do that and then decide what to do with that thing. And actually, believe it or not, it is coming together. It is coming together. I just wanted to be able to show you a few of the trials I'm going through right now in case you have to do something like this too. And I know that this isn't going to be complete by the time this video is over. There's just too much more to do. And I don't want to bore you with the whole thing. It's simply a way to get you started maybe on a project that you've been avoiding. And what a great time to do it in the winter or in the beginning of the winter when it doesn't get too cold. I actually get a lot of inspiration for reclaiming this barn from these illustrations, paintings by Charles Wysocki, one of my favorite artists. And this is an interior of a barn, a really clean barn, but look how charming that is. I don't know if mine would ever look like that on the inside, but sure makes me want to get a turkey. Of course, we had some bad experiences with a turkey. Now, I know a lot of people are doing their Thanksgiving thing right now and doing recipes and decorating for the upcoming holiday celebration here in America. And don't worry, I will be doing some recipes probably in next week's video. So, in the interest of decorating the barn, so I guess you would call this barn decor, but it's just old artifacts that have been found around here because this place, not the barn itself, but the house was built in the late 1800s or early 1900s. We're not quite sure of the exact date. So we do find a lot of things around here, like the sheep shears that James found. Those are ice hogs, I think. Old oil cans. I mean, where are you going to put this stuff other than a barn? That's the best place for it. This horse is an interesting piece. It's cast iron in 2 parts, put together with bolts, and it was actually a windmill weight for the farm. There would have been 2 of them. I'm not quite sure how they worked, but they were put on windmills for the farm. And I acquired this when I lived back in Colorado, and it never looked quite right in the house because it's so rustic, but it looks pretty good here in the barn. Now, I haven't even taken you upstairs yet. But the fact of the matter is, I have already cleaned the upstairs. I am just putting bins and things together up there. That definitely will have to be storage We've got to have some storage here in the barn, so we'll go up there next time around. But I do have to end this video because it's going to be too long if I don't, and this job is not going to be finished today. So I just want to challenge you, if you have something, a shed, a basement, a garage, something you want to reclaim, here's my challenge to you. Let's just do it. Do it together. We'll do it along with me. I'll think about you. You could think about me while I'm taking on this job. And let us know your progress in the comments or what kind of job you want to tackle. So from Hopalong Hollow, today we're going to be finished. And it's such a beautiful day. I think I'll get a lot done today. So we'll see you next time in Hopalong Hollow. Bye-bye. I wasn't sure they'd like pumpkin, but they really do. You like that pumpkin? Hey, girls. Yum, yum. Here, hon. That's some pumpkin. Oh, sister doesn't like it. Our daughter doesn't like it. Here, you want to try that pumpkin? Is it good? What if I cut it in pieces for you? Would you like it better?